Hi, I'm Minn from Thundering Asteroids, and I hope you're well rested from your Labor Day weekend because we have a special 2-week Geek B-roll for you. This is your source for geek and music here in Portland.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, this is your Minn Minute where I get to talk about zombies because they're zombies and I like talking about zombies. So zombies seem to have invaded media and entertainment. They are absolutely everywhere. And in 2013, a couple of those efforts probably should have been left on the cutting room floor. The first of those is Warm Bodies. They actually made a romantic comedy where the guy, romantic person, was a zombie, and that just... No, just don't go there. It's wrong on so many levels. The other was World War Z, which was an amazing book, and it was a really fun movie. But apparently they took the rage zombies from 28 Days Later, they combined them with cheetahs and army ants, and just threw the laws of physics out the window. So things were a little crazy with zombies in 2013. But there is a bright light at the end of the tunnel here in 2014. On September 12th, Sci-Fi is going to be premiering a brand new zombie survivor show called Z Nation. This show follows the survivors 3 years after a zombie apocalypse, as they're trying to get the only known person who ever survived a zombie bite across country to the last surviving lab. Now this show is brought to you by The Asylum, who are the creators of Sharknado, and has actors that you will recognize, a really solid storyline, and also has some local talent in writer-producer Dan Merchant. So I have very high hopes for the show, and I think they just might be able to revive the zombie genre. So what do you think? Are you going to be watching Z Nation? And if so, are there any viewing parties here in Portland I can go to? Let me know, and that's your Minn Minute. This week we're actually covering 2 weeks worth of what's happening in Portland, and there is so much going on, the list is absolutely huge. So today we get to test my ability to speed read and your ability to find how many times I fuck up in the process. So without further ado, Week 1, on Tuesday, September 2nd at the No, we have Portland band Sloppy Kisses and the Cry opening for Your Pest Band from Japan. On Wednesday, September 3rd at Boogie's Burgers and Brews, we also have Your Pest Band, and they're doing a second show with the PDX bands Defect, Wild Mohicans, and Piss Test. Friday, 4 shows going on Friday. No idea how you're going to decide on this one. The first at the Sandy Hut, we have the Mormon Trannies and the Tanked with Whiskey Dickers and Roughhausen. I'm pretty sure I butchered that one. We also have at the High Mark Flesh World with Defect and Dark Light. Club 21, we have Love Sores, Blood Types, and Lexi Vex and the Modern Gentleman. And finally, your 4th show on Friday at the Tonic Lounge. Faster Pussycats in town and headlining with local bands Madam Torment, The Nash, and Hillbilly Bitch Splitter. Wrapping up week 1, we have King Ghidorah playing with Toy and Buttercup at the Twilight Lounge. And that's with Pi Winslow, who's our guest in a little bit more, so we'll talk about that one soon. Heading on to week 2. We kick off week 2 on Monday at the No. We're going to have the Suicide Notes with Canadian band Come Stain along with Lady Wolf and Mr. Tang. On Tuesday, September 9th, we have our first viewer-submitted event. Keep sending those in. We love you guys. And that's going to be Dwight Dickerson's tour kickoff at the Ash Street Saloon with Eric Anarchy, Mormon Trannies, and Raw Dog and the Close Calls. Wednesday, September 10th, back at Boogie's Burgers and Brews, we have Manic with Therapists and Sex Crimes. Turn on Safe Search before you Google that one. Along with Chemicals and The Rat. Friday, we have 2 shows on Friday the 12th. They're both going to be really good. At the Sandy Hut, we have the Pixie Project Benefit, and that's going to be with the Muddy River Nightmare Band, 48 Thrills, The Wobblies, Lexi Vex and the Modern Gentleman, and Avenue Victor Hugo. We also have at the Analog Cafe the Phantom Surfers with Guantanamo Baywatch and Cyclops. Saturday is also going to be a musical Sophie's Choice. We have O'Malley's, the Exasperators, the Decliners, and World War IV. Also talking to Pi later. And at Sandy Hut, we have 42 Ford Prefect with the Streak and Heelys and Stumblebum. Finally, wrapping up this rather Shakespearean novel of a list are 2 things that have nothing to do with music. So on the 14th, we are going to have DOA Wrestling at the East Portland Lodge. And last but not least, in roller derby, we have the High Rollers who are going to be going against Eugene's Skate-A-Phrenics. And I didn't write the date down for that one, so you're going to have to look it up. That is 2 weeks worth of shit going on in PDX. So much happening. We still didn't cover it all, so be sure to like our Facebook page so you can see everything else that's going on. Have a great couple of weeks. Today we have Pi Winslow, the drummer for the bands Toy and World War IV in the studio with us, so welcome, Pi.
Hi, thank you.
So Toy is the band that's been around a bit longer. When did you start with that?
I started playing with Toy probably in November of last year. The singer Cagney, she was playing drums, and she decided that she wanted to focus more on singing. So,
Was she singing and playing drums?
She was singing and playing drums.
That's really hard.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I don't know how she managed.
She did a very good job.
That's fantastic. More talent there than I could possibly muster, but just singing is more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then how would you describe the sound of Toy?
I think Toy's an interesting band. It's got a lot of surf sounds to it, and some people think it sounds a little poppy. I think it sounds like, the Pulp Fiction soundtrack sometimes.
Nice.
And then there are some other songs. Some are instrumental. Those are usually the more surfy ones, and then there's the ones with the vocals that sound a little more poppy. And I don't know. Some people have said grungy. Sometimes it's hard to define an exact sound, but it's a lot of fun.
Great. And Toy has a show coming up. Is it a surf party show?
I call it a surf party show because we were playing with King Ghidorah from McMinnville, and they are an excellent surf band.
Nice.
Yeah, all instrumental, and they wear these robot masks, and they're phenomenal. So
That's great. When's that going to be?
That is going to be on September 6th at the
Twilight Cafe. They've been doing really good shows at the Twilight.
Yes, they have.
That's
Yes.
a blast. So your other band, World War IV, they're fairly new. Like, when did you get started on the scene?
Well, we got started on the scene fairly recently this year. But we'd been playing together, more as a fun side project. It was just getting together and jamming, and oh wow, the first time we played together, we wrote a song and had lyrics to it, recorded it like within 3 hours, and we were like, wow, that was rocking, that was awesome. And then we didn't really do anything else with it. And I think about a year later, we kind of started talking about it, and we're like, yeah, we should do that thing again. That was really fun. And so we started writing more songs, and then we got more excited, and we were like, yeah, we should start playing some shows. So.
Well, you guys sound great. And World War IV is much more of a rock band.
Yes, much harder. Definitely a lot of Thin Lizzy influence and harder rock influences.
And you have a comp that you're on?
Yes, we have 2 songs right now out on the Broken Fuses, Bloody Ears comp. It's number 2. Yes. There was one last year. I believe your band was on it.
Yeah, we were on the first one.
Yeah.
We had no new content for the second one, though. Maybe number 3. If we need Keith to do it again. Keith, do another one.
Yeah, Keith, I'm working with Keith to make sure that the next one happens for sure. I'm totally volunteering my time to make sure that manifests. So yeah, we have 2 songs on the comp, and we recorded that with Chris Peterson at WWIV Studios here in Portland. He's a good friend of ours, so it was all really fun and informal, and he records some audio. So it was a really fun experience with using tape.
That sounds like a blast.
Yeah. Every time it was like ready to go, or he'd be like rolling, it's like burger time. Like, yeah, burger time.
Have any clips of that in there? Just get his voice to have it be like the cell phone ringtone. Every
Yes.
time he calls.
Yes.
Burger time. You're like, okay, I know who this is.
I'm gonna have to go back through the tape and listen to it.
And then you have a show also coming up with World War IV.
Yes.
Where people will be able to pick up the comps. You definitely want to go to this one. When is that?
Yes. That show is going to be at O'Malley's, and that is on the 13th, Saturday the 13th of September.
Okay, busy couple of weeks.
Yes, 2 shows, 2 weekends.
So check out Toy and World War IV, 1 show per week, which means you can make both, pick up the comp. And thank you, Pi, for coming into the studio today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And now for a special interview from our archives filmed a year ago with Ken Cheppaikode, the owner of Cheppaikode Records and the Green Noise record store.
My name is Ken Cheppaikode. I own a punk rock label called Cheppaikode Records, which I've been doing for about 15 years. And then I also own this record store right here, Green Noise Records, which I've had for about 9. And I moved to Portland to run this store. I just kind of started hanging around the punk rock scene at age like 12 or 13. The first show I ever went to see was Black Flag in the summer of 1984. And yeah, at the time I was probably one of the younger kids, you know, hanging around the punk scene, and now I'm probably one of the older ones. So it's kind of come full circle in a weird kind of way. Oh boy, well that's a tough one. Basically it's just stuff that I really like and stuff that I really believe in and stuff that kind of fits in with, you know, the sort of the larger picture we're trying to paint with the label. So I not only look at, you know, how awesome I think bands are, but how they fit in with the rest of the bands on there and how they fit in with kind of the, you know, aesthetic that we're going for. And then occasionally, you know, we get a band that doesn't fit in with that aesthetic at all, and I just like them so much I just decide to break my own rules and put them out anyways. But yeah, generally we are looking for, you know, a certain continuity with the stuff that we put out. For some reason we put out a lot of bands from Texas and Canada. I don't know why. I guess it's, you know, kind of catchy, fast garage punk, probably a little too punky to be pop punk, but definitely on the poppier side of the punk rock world. Like I said, I don't particularly think there's a certain sound to it, although I've kind of been noticing in some of the reviews that we've been getting in the last couple of years, like people are starting to refer to it as the dirt nap sound, which I think is kind of weird because that was definitely nothing like that intentional or that thought out. And then I was in Seattle for about 10 years before I moved down here, and I started the label there, and for the first 5 years we had it. It was based out of Seattle, and then I'd recently been laid off from my job at one point in, I think this was the end of 2003, and I'd been kind of spending some time sort of casting about, looking for ideas on ways I could make money that didn't involve going out and getting a job. And eventually, after, you know, a year and a half of sort of keeping my ear to the ground, I heard that this record store, Green Noise Records, was for sale, and I kind of had been on, you know, acquaintance terms with the previous owners. You know, when I would come down to Portland to talk to bands or whatever, I would always make a point to swing by here. It was probably my favorite record store in Portland. So when I heard that they were for sale, I kind of thought I had to jump on the opportunity and see what happened, even though I had you know, zero experience running retail business or anything. It just seemed like something that, even if I like horribly failed at it, I'd like to, you know, cross it off my list. So, and that's what brought me here. The whole thing happened really fast. From the time I heard that the store was for sale to the time I moved down here to run said store was only a few weeks. So, you know, I dropped everything in Seattle and moved down here on extremely short notice.
Thank you for watching our show. Be sure to share us on all the social medias. Subscribe to our YouTube page, like us on Facebook. And we're going to be going on hiatus next week. So in 2 weeks, we're returning with the Geek B-roll, and we're very excited to announce that we have a new host, Courtney Conundrum, who's going to be joining the team. So have a great day, and it's going to be a great week in PDX.